this is going to be a quick video on comparing Python and C++ class and objects. Now, in any Python program, how to create a class. So just give an introduction. The difference between the Python variables and C++ variables. C++ we call variables or member variables or member functions, whereas in Python we call the variables as attributes and functions as behavior. So for example, a parrot is an object. It has the following properties: name, age, color as attributes. Singing and dancing are the behaviors or the functions. Now, the simplest way to create a class, if somebody asks you in Python, is basically you just take class, student and pass. You can see that in a Python compiler. See, you can just go and open a Python compiler. Let it be any version. Let's say you are having a Python compiler which looks like this, and you can say class student. Then I can say obj is equal to, you can create an object out of the class as student. This one. That's all. This is an object. This is how you create. Now let's say you have more lines of program in which you have a function or behavior and as well as a public variable. So in such case, so let us, the program looks like that. The function is written in def, that in def greet, this is a function, and this is a public variable in Python. Whereas in C++, you remember you had the private variables and public variables, and public variables, and there are public functions like o8 set, o8 get, etc, etc. This is how it used to work. Now, quickly, to execute this, when you execute this, that means in order to call this function, in order to call this variable, what has to do is you have to simply say like Harry is equal to this is a function, right? You are calling an object Harry and out of the class person in Python. Now you can also call the function or behavior like this. So now when I execute, actually you can see that Harry.greet is going to execute the function here. So now you can see that how this is working. Let's give a file name to this. So I give a file name and execute hello. So this is so simple. Now let us go back and see how a little more complicated class looks like in Python. So if you have to create a class called student where a house name is a public variable and attribute, and you are having, let's say, a constructor with arguments, like we used to have, remember, a constructor with arguments. So constructor with arguments is, which was like looking like this. See, this is a constructor with argument, something like that. Child and name is being passed. So in such case here, in this particular case we are going to constructor with argument looks like that. Name and age is being passed, and it goes and set in name and age, and you are creating one object and second object with the name and the age. After that you can say print, and you can call the house name student from the object 1. From the object 2 you can call the house name student. Whatever comes in the bracket you need to print as private variable. Same way you can also call age also, student1.age and student2 dot. So this is how will get executed. And now let us run this program. As I said, it is going to print. Blue means it is going to print, depending on the student 1 house name will be this one, student 2 also will be that one, you know that. You can see the house name has been matched, and each person's house name, it has been named also, because you have created student 1 and student 2, and then they can be called back like this. Now coming back to the next one, it is like, let's say you have a little more complicated class where, let me cut and paste this. Actually it will look like this. The student is again there, name and age, and you know, here there is a function called dance and sing, and you know, I am creating, instantiating the first class, and then I am giving the name and, you know, age, and I created student 1. Then I will say, I will call a function called sing is a function, and song name is given inside, so this function will get executed. Let's see how that works. See that blue sings happy song. That means the happy song was passed inside, and this function got executed. DEV sing, something like this. Now, so it was so simple. Now let us see the next part of it, that is like inheritance. Inheritance is what? Is a way of creating a new class for using the details of an existing class without modifying it. The newly formed class is a derived class, you know that. So let's take an example. First let's go back to C++, if you remember properly how you used to inherit. It was looking like this. You know, good example of inheritance, let's take here. Actually there is a father class, and you have age and other things, and a child class. You know, you used to inherit like this from the public properties of the father. But in this case it is very different, totally different. In Python, you know, it is like you have a parent class and a child class. How you interlink them? See, you can see this. It's a father class, and you know, the way you inherit is class child in brackets father. In father's all property has come into the child also. So now here there is a function. See, if I create C is equal to child, an object of the child, and if I say C.swim, it is looking for a function called swim here. It is not there, so it automatically goes and executes this. Same thing you can see now in the output. See that actually it is going and swimming, taking the, see, first when I say C is equal to child, the constructors of both objects are executed automatically. You can see it here. The constructors are here in itself, this one here in itself, both got executed, and after that you can see that who is this? Who is a child? C.swim, father swims faster, which has come from father. So that is how it is executed. Now if it was C++, you have inherited the child from the father, you know that. And if you say cf.displayPage, it will go, you see that. So displayPage is a function which is not there in the child, so it will automatically go and execute from here. You can see that if you execute this in the, you know, you can see that actually. So I think there is a small error because of this. It's nothing to do with any programming mistake. It is something to do with the edit, I mean the the C++ compiler itself, it expects a different place it has to be loaded. So it has to be. So this is the, I created a child f and I am displaying a display page. You can see this now, how it is getting compiled. See this, it has got compiled. It has come, age, it is displayed from father class. From the father class it executed, though I had called the child display page. Something like this. The same thing, now we come into the next part of the Python, encapsulation. In object-oriented programming in Python or C++, we can restrict access methods and variables, private, public, etc. This prevents data from direct modification. It's called encapsulation. So now we do not have private attributes or, one underscore and two underscores. You can create public variables. How do you create public variables? This is question. See this, I execute this. I'm taking to this and I'm going to run this. So it's an invalid syntax. You know why it's a C.cell, you understood. The C is equal to computer is like a object created into the C out of this. C.cell means it will go and show this. But C.cell, then to change the price actually, that means suppose you wanted to change C.max price is equal to 1000. That means the max price is a private variable. See, it cannot be changed. That's why it came error. So this again it comes the so-called protection or so-called encapsulation. Now, the polymorphism is the ability for two functions to be looking same actually. So in C++ it was like this. If you remember, suppose you have a function which looks like this. I can explain it a little more better. Here it is. I have a function called set here, another function called set. Both are having, these are having 2 arguments, 3 arguments. So whatever you write within this could be different from what you are writing here. Though right now in this it is more or less similar, but you can give a different meaning to these 2 functions. Both the names are same, and this is called polymorphism. So such kind of example you can see here in a Python program. First you can see this, the Python program. You can see this program will look like this. It's a parrot and that can fly, a swim, that's a penguin. So I have a function called diff flying test. What is it doing? This is argument bird. Bird is a type which is passed. I said bird.fly. So now this is an object. This Peggy is an object. So when I pass this particular object, it will go and execute a function bird.fly, fly function from blue. See that? That means blue is a parrot related. So that means this will be a code executed. Second word, Peggy related. Peggy is related to penguin. So it will go and execute fly function from here. So it will execute like this, penguin can't fly second time. You can see that here. See that? Parrot can fly and penguin can not fly. So this is how a Python program looks like. Whereas in a C++ program, these 2 lines are anywhere required, you know that. These 2 are always required. You have created a father function with age, income and marks. This is a default constructor. which gets executed as soon as you call an object, create an object. So a function called get all the age, income and all, and all the private variables can be brought out through a public function. So like father f dot get, something like that. Then set means basically setting the variable. You are passing 2 arguments. Here is another set with 3 arguments, constructor with argument. To that, father f means you are creating an object called f, and you can do f dot set 2 argument constructor. So it will automatically match the constructor here. See that to come here. It will not go here because the number of arguments are different. The second will go to here. Here. So the same way you can, using a pointer also you can call, directly creating an object also you can call. You can see the output of this, which looks like that. You can see that both are same, because one you created directly through an object, other you created, both the pointers are same, created through pointer. Thank you.